Just wanted to introduce an interview with one of the peer support members from the Monday night peer support group, Antonio. Super cool guy. Since his injury, he started a company which is growing every single year. He rides Harley Davidson motorcycles. He is paralyzed and rides Harley Davidson motorcycles, and he actually regained function years after his injury, all of which we talk about in the interview coming up.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of inspirational paraplegic interviews. I think this one's going to take the cake for taking this amazing life transforming injury and using it to fuel a tremendous amount of success. So I'm sitting here with Antonio. I just met him today in peer group. He's one of the awesome, inspirational, old timers that come around every Monday, 4 p.m. We have peer group. We talk about, how our injuries have changed our lives and how we're getting around our lives with these injuries. Antonio's CEO and founder of a clothing company. Turned his life around from being, more of a bad boy to a super productive and contributing member to society, etc. So I guess I'll let him talk about himself a little bit, talk about his injury, when it happened, etc., and then we'll just continue our dialogue.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. So I was injured at the age of 27. I lived in Southern California. I stunt rode motorcycles.
Stunt road.
Yeah, anything
cool,
that had a
man.
motor, I was on it.
Okay.
Since I was young, I was always finding ways to try to crank up the lawnmower and make it run faster.
Yeah.
So
All right.
I was always active like that, and I had a tattoo shop and a clothing store in San Diego, California.
Okay.
I was going about my normal life, partying and living the wild life, and not really thinking about what I'm gonna save for any kind of accident that's gonna happen.
Exactly, right.
We don't put that into our minds, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was riding to the beach one day, and I was involved in an accident. My bike landed on my chest, which collapsed both my lungs, broke 3 vertebrae in my spinal cord, and had me pretty much laid up in the hospital for about 5 to 6 months.
6 months.
The reason why is I had a lot of chest injuries. My pneumonia set in a few times.
Okay.
I had chest
ribs
tubes.
are painful, huh? Like
horrible.
breaking ribs.
Not only just the ribs, but I broke both collarbones and both shoulder blades. So here I am laying in the hospital trying to recover.
Yeah.
Laying on what's broken. You gotta lay on your back.
To recover like that, right?
And so, and then on top of that, I had woke up from my coma, and I ripped all of my breathing tubes out, which tore up all my esophagus muscles. So for a month and a half, I couldn't eat or drink. So I was
you literally ripped it out of your mouth?
Chest tubes and everything. Yeah,
No way.
I was on feeding tubes and all the works.
So how long were you in a coma for?
Almost about 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
About a total of 3 weeks. Yeah.
Oh wow! So then you woke up out of this in 3 weeks, and you're in bed, and you're like, "Where the hell am I?" And you kind of just ripped it
the
out.
first instinct you have to get down your throat.
Yeah.
Out.
It must have felt like super uncomfortable and stuff, right?
Horrible.
Yeah.
And so after that, I learned what was going on with me, and from there it was a process,
That's insane.
They used to bring a lot of people in to come talk to me and tell me how things are going to be so much better, and how my life will still be great. And I was thinking, you guys are crazy. Like, my life's over,
Yeah.
Coming from a life where I rode motorcycles and muscle cars every day, I owned my own business, and I partied.
Yeah.
You don't think how you're going to be in a wheelchair.
Exactly. How are you going to do all that in a wheelchair?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
I've literally been going through the same stuff lately too, man. Like the last few days actually have been like, shit, man. If I improve every day, I still won't be able to reach that top shelf in the cupboard,
Right.
And it's a dangerous mindset to be in,
Yeah.
Like it's and we were talking about, with Joe in the last interview, how it's all about, the things that you choose to focus on, You could choose to focus on, you were in muscle cars and riding all kinds of motorcycles, doing stunts, partying like a crazy person, which you still can do, by the way, right? And maybe sometimes you do. I don't know.
Still do, but maybe I shouldn't.
Maybe you shouldn't. But I think you just have to realize that, you won't be able to do these things exactly the way you did before your injury, right?
And that's kind of how I got to where I'm at today. Like, everything that I did before,
yeah,
I still can do, and I still do a lot of them. But I'm so much smarter about the way I live.
Yeah.
I understand a lot more now about what quality of life is about and what is really important in my life.
Okay.
A lot of the things that I lost because of my accident, I'm glad now that I lost those things.
Yeah.
Whether it was lifestyle, friends, whatever, those types of things that weren't really my best interest. And so basically what ended up happening with me is I just said I'm going to focus on what I can do, how I can do it, and I'm going to get better each and every day.
Okay.
And, because of that accident, this happened to me, and me learning what it's like to be living with a disability and the challenges we face, I was able to create my company, which is what I run now, Endless Ability. And like you said, I make fashionable clothing for wheelchair users.
Yeah.
Something I never would have known about unless this happened to me.
That's right. And like you recently signed like a big deal with the VA and
working with paralyzed
the
veterans.
company's probably growing, I imagine, right?
And my most prideful thing about the whole thing is that I'm able to hire more people with disabilities, giving them something to sell that they utilize and feel like they need in their life. So it's kind of helping the next person who's in the same situation.
Kind of paying it forward a bit, right?
Kind of like how I met you tonight. Like somebody came and talked to me in the hospital, made me feel better about my situation, and helped me get to the next level. So I found especially having some innovation in myself, being able, I figured out ways that make things easier for me. So the quicker I can tell somebody like yourself who's been injured recently, I can show you what helped me, so then you can figure out maybe what works for you best. Give you more options, and that's what it's all about. It's all about helping each other.
I think so. Yeah. And I think one thing that you touched upon a little bit earlier too is like this has taught you to really focus on what matters, right?
Oh, for sure.
One thing that we talked about in peer group today, which I wanted to mention this, but then I had to eat dinner and stuff. But is things take a long time when you're in a wheelchair, right? And sometimes you have to depend on other people to do the things that like you didn't have to depend on before. You have to be patient,
Right.
And you learn patience the hard way. But quite honestly, patience is a tremendous virtue. It's something that
without a doubt.
If you could develop that skill to be patient, to kind of in that patience maybe think your steps through instead of just acting. Like before, I found myself always just being impatient and just acting before I think. And I'm hoping that, with this new mindset where I'm forced to be patient, I'm forced to slow down and really, do things properly, it can enable me to achieve things that, I couldn't before because of this, lack of patience.
And that's kind of like hand in hand with, it's all about timing and kind of situating yourself in a position where you understand you have to be patient. So it's proper planning and then execution. Like one of the things that I really focus on now is even in my daily traveling and driving. Okay, so I got to figure out where I'm going to get gas. If I want to take certain things with me, getting out, I try to do it all in a one-stop type of deal. So I can kind of save my energy for the whole day.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And you're right. It's patience and maybe asking people for help. But at the same time, what I do see with a lot of people who get injured is them kind of putting themselves in the category where they're like, well, all they do is ask for help. They don't do nothing for themselves. And that's something that you don't want to get yourself into too. Especially,
interesting. Okay.
You don't want to, don't ever feel like you're a burden to people that love you. So whether it's a wife, a girlfriend, a family member, a brother, a sister, whatever it is, to ask them and utilize them for the help that they could give you when it's necessary. But there's sometimes that you got to go beyond and do for them in return. Even if it takes you a little bit longer, but you're getting that exercise, you're getting that experience.
That's right.
And that's one of the things that's really, the way I grew up, I moved out of my parents' house when I was 17.
Okay.
I lived by myself for 10 years. I didn't ask for a lot of help from other people. So putting myself into this situation where I needed help was like a humbling situation because I understood how important it is to have people that care for you and that are willing to help you. But I also said, I'm going to get back to where I could do things by myself. and I challenged myself. Whether it was getting onto the floor to stretch, I knew it was going to be difficult to get back in the chair.
Yeah.
But I said, even if it takes me 20 minutes and I got to roll and go on my stomach and transfer to a chair and get on the sofa, I'm going to make it happen, and I'm not going to ask for help because the next time it's going to get easier.
That's right. Yeah.
It gets easier, and it gets easier, and it gets easier.
You gotta always challenge yourself. I feel like that's absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
That's definitely a lesson.
And in that, I just take every challenge, like I was telling them earlier. When you get out to put gas, there's gonna be places that don't come out to your car and help you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I make it a positive thing. I could do this by myself.
Yeah.
And I get out and I'll put the gas.
That's right.
Whether it's Bowel and Bladder programs.
Yeah.
When I'm in bed, I know a lot of guys that get lazy and say, well, I'm just going to keep my catheter stuff right by my bedside, or I'm going to keep my urinal by my bedside.
Yeah.
And so then they're just in bed using the restroom, and they'll leave it there and they'll sit there overnight. I never did that because I said, you know what? Me getting out of bed, inconveniencing myself somewhat, having to go into the restroom to do what you're supposed to do in the restroom, come back and get back in bed. I've exercised. I've burned calories.
That's right.
I've trained myself to use what's supposed to be done and how it's supposed to be done. And that just keeps your body going, keeps you living a little bit. I didn't fall into that suit where I'm just going to use the restroom here because it's convenient.
Interesting.
If I'm sick or something, then maybe I will. But daily, I'm going to go into the restroom and use the restroom.
Interesting. Okay.
And I think that just helped me motivate myself to really do for myself. And that's how I've been able to stay as positive as I can.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And it seems to me like when you're saying this, it also gives you this mindset of yes, I can.
Oh,
right.
Never give up.
Yeah. Never give up, man. Is that's the hashtag on your video, right?
Yeah.
Never give up, right?
Most of my videos, it's never give up because
like that. Man, it's getting dark.
Turn on some light. Most of my videos, like I said, we can go quick, but like I was saying, a lot of my videos.
Looks like there's a light right here. Keep going. Yeah.
Let's see if I can turn it on.
Keep talking.
All right.
Got it.
Yeah, so most of my videos that are the never give up, it's just telling ourselves that, regardless of the challenge, there's a way to do things. So you just got to kind of work it little by little and not give up on yourself. Because if you give up on yourself, then everyone's going to give up on you.
That's right. Yeah. That's not the way. All right. I tried. That is a good point. Hey, so I did want to ask one more question, which I thought was super interesting. From the peer group, you regained some functionality a significant time after your injury. So I was hoping you could maybe talk about that a little bit. How?
It took me about 2 years to regain, 2.5 years to actually regain my bowel and bladder functions.
Yeah. So you regained nothing. Basically, it plateaued for 2.5 years, right? Like whatever sensation you had, As
for
you
the
were leaving the hospital, right?
For the first 6 months to a year, I had no sensation. I had to, whenever I went, I went.
Yeah,
so I had to make sure I really stuck to the program that they helped me.
That's right.
Learn while I was in the hospital.
Program, bowel program.
Using the catheter every 3 hours or whatever, consuming only a certain amount of liquids and watching everything. And I just didn't like having to do that all the time. So what I did was, I said, okay, well, I gotta find out what my body's accustomed to.
Yeah.
I started using the catheter, and when I would use the catheter, I actually put it in my mind to focus, and I started realizing that I was able to contract and expand my bladder a little bit and control the flow.
Yeah. I'm getting some of that. Like I can definitely, if I bear down in my abs,
then you feel
it
the
flows
flow
faster.
So that's what I did, and I practiced that. So when I was using the bag, I tried to make it come out faster, make it stop, make it same thing, bearing down.
Okay, interesting.
So it got to the point where I realized that I was actually able to kind of push on my own. So I started learning how to do that, and for the first, after about 2 years out, I was able to use the restroom. But when they did a bladder scan, they seen that I was still holding a certain amount of liquid. So I'd have to use a catheter only at night to fully empty my bladder. So I didn't get an infection. I did that for about a period of 5 to 6 months.
Okay.
Then it got to the point where I realized I was emptying my bladder completely.
Nice.
And I just stuck to doing that. And now it's been 3 years since I've put any kind of catheter. So
that makes sense, man. I mean, I think this is a testament to how your mindset of just not doing the convenient thing, doing the thing that's harder, probably led to this. You know, actually,
Oh, for sure.
I saw this super interesting video. It's probably back in college. They're talking about neural nets, which are kind of like it's a strategy they use in machine learning, but it mimics kind of the brain.
Right.
So they had all these videos about how brains work and nerves work and things like that. And they had this crazy thing where they had these nails, like a matrix of nails, and they somehow managed to put like nerves in between them or something. And what they would do is they would stimulate different pairs of nails, right? And the thing is the ones that they stimulated the most, like there was the most amount of nerve growth, right?
Right.
And the ones that they didn't stimulate at all, the nerves actually kind of like they broke apart.
Right.
You know, so if you're not trying to stimulate that, point A to point B, brain to bladder, for instance.
Whether it doesn't work or not, you keep trying to work at it.
Exactly, keep working at it, and then eventually you're finally going to get enough signal in there that it's going to start working.
Right.
So yeah, I think Antonio is a cool testament to how just if you set the bar high, continue setting it high, challenge yourself, overcome your challenges. Right. It'll pay dividends in ways that you couldn't even expect. Right.
At least stay in a positive mindset always.
Yeah.
But I hope to do more videos with you.
Yeah, definitely, man. I think this went great, man.
Send them to my website, endlessability.com. Like I said, I got some.
Yeah, I'll put a link up to his company. He showed me his jeans. They're super cool. They have like all kinds of convenience pockets and things like that. Basically, everything is designed from the ground up for the wheelchair bound in mind, and lots of cool stuff. So yeah, let's definitely keep in touch.
Appreciate it.